Past 1 month, I've been able to help 2 people secure their study permit to Canada. I'll be sharing everything I've done step by step. So on this video, I want to show you step-by-step process, everything to the tooth, to the nail. You will not be left in doubt after I finish this series. After today's video and subsequent ones, you will be able to sit down in the comfort of your rooms. You don't need an agent, you don't need anybody, and you'll be able to do these things by yourself. So today, sit back, relax, and watch this video to the end. There's a bonus that I have for everybody that watches to the end. There's a particular document I will tell you about that will make your study permit application approvable by anyone. It will not be denied. I tell you the truth. I am assuming that you don't know what to do and you have decided that, okay, I want to go to Canada via study permit, because Canada is accepting people, a whole lot of people. They are exceeding their targets, their immigration targets, up until 2025, sorry. So what is the first thing you do? The first thing you should do is either you apply for a university for an undergraduate course or a postgraduate course. So what you should do is, first of all, you look for a school that is a designated learning institute in Canada. It's what we call designated learning institute, called DLI. Now, I'm going to post the links in the description below so that you know how to search for designated learning institutes. Then the school must not just only be a DLI, it must also be eligible for a postgraduate work permit, which is PGWP. Not every school has courses that are eligible for postgraduate work permit. For most universities they have, for some colleges they have, some they don't have. Alright, so it's very important, so that, because recently one of my sisters got a scholarship in one of the colleges in Ontario, and I asked her, please, can I check it? And I checked and I discovered that this school is not eligible for postgraduate work permit. And most people going to Canada, we need to work after their study. So if you make that mistake, you're on your own. Immediately after your study, you'll be on your way back to Nigeria. So that's the first thing. Check a school that has the course that you want to do. Also check if they are eligible for a postgraduate work permit. Then the next thing you need to do is, after you submit your applications, check the requirements, submit your applications, I would encourage you to pay the part payment that is required, because that is what you will use as part of the documents for your proof of funds. Because when the visa officer sees that you have paid the fees, they will be able to facilitate your study permit approval. It will be an indication that you can take care of yourself and you can pay your fees. Some people will tell you, there's no need for you to pay. Go to Canada and before you pay your fees. Yes, but it is very good. It will help you a lot if you can pay the part payment before you move to Canada. So most of the schools accept this part payments. So you're on the right track. So after you do that, the school will now send you their letter of acceptance or offer letter, which is part of the document that you will also use for your study permit documents. Those are part of the documents that you would submit. The receipts, which we use for your proof of funds, and also the offer letter, which will be part of the necessary documents that you submit. After you do that, the next thing is for you to start gathering your documents. What are the documents you need? Before you start any international journey application, you must have gotten your international passport. And the next thing you do, make sure that your international passport has the number of years that your visa will contain. That your visa will accommodate. Maybe if you are hoping to study a course that is 3 years, ensure that your international passport also has more than 3 years, because you cannot be given a visa. You cannot be given a visa of 5 years if your passport is expiring in 1 year. I'm just giving an example. So ensure that you have enough number of time in your passport before your passport expires. So the next thing, snap a standard passport. You must have your passport, like 2 passport photographs. Then get your transcript, either your secondary school transcript or your undergraduate transcript in the situation whereby you are applying for a postgraduate course. Then also get your high school leaving certificate if you're in Nigeria, your WAEC or your NECO. Also get your NYSC certificate in case you are in Nigeria. NYSC is a National Youth Service Corps. It's a compulsory scheme that was designed by the Nigerian government for every graduate. So if you're not in Nigeria, you're watching me, then you don't need that. Then you also have professional qualifications or awards. If you have received awards, maybe as a university student, maybe you were in SUG, you did something, or you are a medical personnel, you received some awards, some association awards, gather them. They are very important. It improves your credibility. Reference letter from your employer. In case you are applying, you apply for a postgraduate course, and you need to show them that you have been working and they've given you a study leave and a reference letter from your employer. Now, this is going to help ensure that the course you are applying for shows career progression. For instance, maybe you read business administration. After school, you now started working as a business development manager, and then you now want to go and do your master's. It is very important that the courses that you are applying for shows career progression. It's not that you read business management and you are going for health course. You will not be able to convince the visa officer that you are making a career progress and that you will return after your study. It's very important that your work, that where you worked, your job experience and your schooling all are in tandem, or they tally with what you want to go and study in Canada. Very important. Note that point. You must show career progression. Then the next thing you need to show is your birth certificate, if applicable. Then your marriage certificate, that if you are married, these marriage certificate and birth certificates are your ties to your home country. They want you to be able to prove that you will return after your study. So you must show them that if you are married, that's a good one. So you show your marriage certificate, birth certificate. If you have kids, you show the birth certificates of your kids. Then family ties. Family ties is still part of the proof that you have strong ties with your home country and that you are going to return. So if you have a nuclear family, maybe you're married, show your picture with your wife and your kids. If you are not married, provide the pictures of your brothers, your father and your mother, and every picture that is available. It's very important. And you also provide their identification, maybe their national identity cards or any proof of valid identification. Then the next thing you need to get is your police report. The police report, don't get your police report is valid for 3 months. So ensure that you get it close to the time that you want to begin your application. After you have gotten your admission, that's when you should get your police report. Then the next thing you need to now attach also that you need to submit is your letter of acceptance. Your letter of acceptance, which you've already gotten from the university. Then the next thing is your proof of funds. I'm going to be doing a video about the proof of funds, because the proof of funds has different ways with which you can show that you are eligible to pay your fees, or you are capable of paying your fees. So I'm going to do another video. So if you want me to do that video, please drop in the comment section and tell me, please, I need you to extend the proof of funds, and I will show you documents that you can use. Then also, what's the time frame? From my past experiences, the visa that was approved on the 16th of November, it took us 54 days. And this other one took us 1 month, just some few weeks over 5 weeks. So a maximum 9 weeks. 9 weeks, your visa should be approved, should be processed. I mean, either you get a denial or an acceptance later from the embassy. So what are the fees that you need to pay? Very important. Now you need to know that before for the Canadian study permit, there's no interview. So what they deal with is your documents. So you need to do a biometrics. The biometrics, as of today, costs the biometrics is 85 Canadian dollars. then your visa application fee is 150 Canadian dollars. Combine them, it is 235 Canadian dollars. Then you also need to do your health. You need to do a test. And in Nigeria, the approved place for doing your test is the International Organization of Migration, IOM. In Abuja, it's located in Asokoro. So as of today, the cost is 45,000 naira. So it might change because of the currency fluctuations. Before it was 41,000, it keeps changing. So the earlier you do it, the better. So you need to do your biometrics, you need to do pay your visa application, and then do your test. So those are the major things that you need to get. Then I think those are the basic things that you need to get. So once your documents are in place, these are the major documents. So I promise to give a bonus. Now, if you are going as a worker, it is good that you show your pay slip. It might not be the account that you are using for your proof of funds, but it's good that you show your pay slip, show an evidence that you are receiving salary. Then secondly, get an affidavit, a bond between you and your employer, a bond, an affidavit that shows that you have a bond between you and your employer. This will further solidify the bond with your employer will improve your chances, will increase your chances of your visa being approved, to show that you will return after you're done with your studies. So the final and the most important document in your Canadian study visa application is what we call the letter of explanation. Some people know it as your statement of purpose or whatever they call it, but I call it the letter of explanation. This is what the visa officer reads and he has an idea of who you are. The letter introduces you, talks about your family, talks about your work experience, talks about why you are studying in Canada, your achievements in life, what is your motivation for traveling to Canada, and why you are going to return back, and how will your study in Canada impact the society in Nigeria or whatever country you are going to. So you must be able to convince them in that letter that you will return, and then in that letter you will state all the documents that you are using as your supporting documents for your visa application. That's the first letter they will read before they will now start checking all your documents. So everything you state in that letter, the letter will also carry the amount you have as your proof of funds and how that money came about. You must be able to explain in that letter how your money came about, whatever money that you have that you're using for your proof of funds. You must be able to explain how you got that money. And then so this letter is the most important letter. I would advise that you get a professional to help you do it. If you don't use yourself as a trial. Don't use your application as trial. Use people who are tested and proven. So if you need any assistance or any help as regards that letter, you can contact me. Just send me a mail. I will get across to one or two people who can put you. If I'm available, I will help you. If I don't, then I'll pass it on to other people.